Good morning. So, the way we greet in South India, where I'm from, and I follow science of Panchapakshi Shastra taught by Agastya, and it's called Science of Five Birds, Panchapakshi Shastra, which I wrote about like as Maryland medicine. One of my book, which I think probably next year I'll have enough time to expand on it. It's a textbook, nadivaidyam.org, and it is also in West taught as behavior therapy, 4-quadrant personality scale called Dove personality scale. Dove, owl, peacock, and eagles, and they left out the fifth bird, which actually completes it in South India. And so the way we greet is Kumbh, Kumbhadrain Swami. Okay, Kumbh is Purna Kumbh. You gather a pot with water and you tie it with sacred threads, prayer threads, and then you fill that pot on top with a coconut and the surrounding with tender mango leaves, and we greet people, giving them the prosperity. So they say, Kumbhadre means I deliver this prosperous greeting to you so you can have a prosperous life, and I'm honored by your presence. So that's the way we greet each other. Okay, Kumbhadre Swami. So that being said, the reason for this video is called Social Media Ambassadorship. Today is Saraswati Puja. I'm starting my Social Media Ambassadorship. My original teacher was Master Choa Kuksui, and he was from Philippines, and he was raised as a mechanical engineer. And he told me, when I come across my spiritual teacher in life, I need to follow him. And Master Choa died in 2006. And he gave his Key of Solomon, Pentacle, Key of Solomon, and I wear it as a Kriya Shakti pendant. He gave us this one. And the Kriya Shakti pendant, Key of Solomon, it's a Jupiter pentacle, like 44th pentacle. And in this, it had an expiry date. He said it is valid only up to March of 2006, and he died March 19, 2006. So he knew what was happening. And his teacher used to be Master Mahaguruji Mailing, he said. So I really asked universe, can you help me balance this so that I really don't get carried away? Because one of the thing I wanted to do was be very grounded. And my spirit mom is Mahalakshmi, Lakshmi herself. She became an energy teacher, but for the world, you also needed a spiritual presence. So Varahi came and she gave me, this is holy Darba grass. And so Varahi and Tri wear. That's my logo. This year, Ativarda gave me a robe, or like a prayer shawl to wear. So he said to choose this as my robe. So I will fit into the spirit world. So like how they have third order saints in Christianity, same way I'm like Rishi, like, like that status they initiated. And Swami Nithyananda is my living guru. So Swami beyond Ananda, who's like the fun guy, like how he said, Master Choa said, Mahaguruji Mailing is my spirit teacher, because he was not in physical body, Mahaguruji Mailing. And so beyond Ananda said, my master is Fu Ling. It was play on words. Now I'm going to show you a video, and the reason I'm doing this video is it's called comprehensive validation therapy. I do recovery coaching for my patients who are having issues of drug addiction, and also like, not to be able to come across as somebody worthy in this life. many people mock each other, bully each other and stuff. So one of the things I am taking up at a cause is social media ambassadorship, which is to bring balance to some, because if you shift somebody's thinking, they would have a wholesome behavior. So one of my program I run is Positive Anonymous 12-step program, which actually was guided by Master Cho and Lee, and then Swami Nithyananda, took over. He's my higher power now. Positive Anonymous 12-step program. So it's called Positive 12 Steps on Facebook. If you do @ with Positive 12-step, you will get it. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys some video so you can follow along and see what I'm doing, okay? So this is first, we're going to listen to Sarah's video, and then and I'm going to come back to Swami Biyandananda as well. So we are going to, each time I'm going to figure out where exactly her thinking is something we need to watch out for. Because I think she wants to come across as her own self-developed saint. And it is fine. Nobody is saying she cannot do. But the name calling and putting somebody down to get ahead is what I want to correct. That's all. So she says why Nithyananda is considered cult. She has no business talking about another teacher, right? She was raised in Canada. She has issues of addiction. And, you need to mind your own business. But I respect her because she was the one who taught me how to be a social media ambassador. That's so weird, so I'm using her own technique, which she taught me, and she was my trainer.
It's been about a week since my last upload, and it's kind of a bomb that I dropped on everyone who was kind of wondering why I left the cult of Nithyananda, why I had stayed silent about the abuses I faced there for about 9 years as a part of that community, and what exactly was happening to the kids in the school that convinced me it was time to completely disengage from that cultic group and restart my life in the real world once again.
So this is validation therapy. She's sharing her opinion. I have no interest in having an opinion on how she perceived she was treated, because in Positive Anonymous 12-step program, everybody is allowed to share their views, okay? So I have no problem. Whatever she says she went through, I truly feel sorry that she wasted 9 years of her life staying in one place. She could have got out early. That's my only opinion, but that's okay. She sacrificed 9 years of her life. God bless you, mother. So now let's hear what she's saying.
So that video, I'm really grateful to see, has met mostly with positive feedback. It's almost overwhelming, the volume of comments that come up underneath it. From a lot of people who are born Hindus living in India, who are saying basically that people born into Hinduism knew Nithyananda was fake all along and didn't get sucked into his home. And I felt like making a video to address some of the questions asked by many of those born Hindus who have asked, why do so many Western people fall into the trap of this fake God man? Why do we fall for his, his self-aggrandizing agenda and get sucked into they can't believe in retrospect that they got sucked into a cult like that, because first and foremost, nobody ever deliberately joins a cult. It's not like somebody came up to us recruiting and said, hey, we belong to this wonderful new cult in India. Come worship a human being and recruit all of your friends and give up your life for it. It's not like we deliberately marched in, knowing that we were going to sacrifice our independent thinking skills to become a pawn used by a narcissistic psychopath. We all went in for the same reason anybody joins any movement.
So at the 2.16 excuse me for the sirens and stuff. So we live in a downtown where there is always sirens. So she's labeling somebody a psychopath. That is where the issue is. It is like, I am of this opinion and I decided to leave is a very different thing. But calling somebody a psychopath and name calling is considered mocking and bullying. And that's not okay, Ma. That's not okay. Okay. In the long run, that is something you might have to make amends. That's what the whole 12 step is about. Because it is not what you share. You can share many things. That is the way you were treated and stuff. It's perfectly okay. But name calling and making somebody be ashamed of who they are, that is where the issue is. There is no other issue. So you need to really understand it is the name calling that bothers people, not what you say. What you say, it's fine. You are coming from the space where you feel you were wasting your time there. And I'm so grateful you're able to get out.
We were promised the answer to the questions we had at the time. We were told that life there is going to be much, much better than life in the outside world. And we were told that by volunteering our...
So who is we? The we is it somebody that she housed in her brain? Or is it somebody she worked with as a group? Who is we? Because in any sharing, you only share your strength and hope. You don't try to accumulate somebody else's experience as your own, because you are not the spokesperson for another person. So when you come and you share your experience, that's fine. When I share my experience, that's fine. But I cannot talk on another person. So the word we doesn't make sense to me.
Services and donating our money and giving our time, we were going to be helping the world. So at the time that I found Nithyananda, I was already hugely inspired by Sanatana Dharma. I was already really fascinated by the world of Hinduism. I believed Hindu gods and goddesses were beautiful. I had very good friends in Vancouver, a couple named Varsha and who owned the bookstore there, who really got me my start in tarot card reading by letting me teach a little class about tarot at their store. And through them, I was introduced to Ganesha and what it is to do puja and what it is to connect with deities on a personal level, not just as archetypes, but as beings. And so it's not like Nithyananda was my introduction to Hinduism. I was already, I kept a Ganesha Murti in my apartment even before I knew Nithyananda. And I offered it sweets on a regular basis. And I felt connected to Kali Devi, who I had seen in visions as a kid. When I came to know about Nithyananda, I had prayed for enlightenment. And unfortunately, I fell victim to something that a lot of people in the anti-cult movement call faulty attribution. And faulty attribution...
So by this, till now she has shared. Now she's involved with anti-cult movement. So somehow she feels drawn into another organization that uses the word faulty attribution to justify their way of thinking. Okay. So, which is fine, till now she shared, who she's following. Originally, she followed her own sense of evolving herself. And for some reason, she felt she needed to gather more information about Sanatana Dharma. She goes with the perspective she's going to save the world. And for some reason, she feels let down. And now she joins another movement that is anti-cult thinking. And that's when she gets into the concept of cult. Okay. So this is the way I'm hearing it.
When something coincidental happens, we automatically assume that it's a miracle. And instead of feeling like it's a great coincidence, we attribute that miracle to whoever claims credit for it. So I'll give an example of faulty attribution. When I started coming to the Nithyananda Center in Vancouver on a regular basis, there were moments in my life where, for example, the Kalpataru program, which was the first $200 paid program of Nithyananda that I participated in.
And again, I want to stop here because as far as I know, Kalpataru is a free program. So I don't know whether in Canada they charge, because I have run Kalpataru on behalf of Swamiji, and I have never been asked to pay. So it just confuses me whether there is a disconnect, because Kalpataru is like a free sessions he does. Unless, like, in the past there was a paid program. I have no idea. And I don't have an opinion. I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, some of the things she say is not a reality.
That program cost $200. And I remember making a decision when I found out the price of that program. I decided that if I made exactly $200 cash on my next day working at the tarot room, that was a sign from existence that Nithyananda is my guru and that I should attend that program. So lo and behold, it was the summer season, busy time, lots of people coming for tarot readings. When I made exactly $200 on my next workday, I faulty attributed. I made the wrong generalization and assumed that I made that money, and it was proof and a sign to follow Nithyananda. The New Age community is really falling victim to this faulty attribution in a major way. And you see it in stuff like the 1111 syndrome or Doreen Virtue's book about repeat numbers. A lot of people think that if they see certain numbers constantly coming up, that's a sign that they should do this or they should do this.
So again, I don't know whether she is against Doreen Virtue's repeat numbers. I mean, like, it looks like she has a problem with it. I love Doreen Virtue. And sometimes universe speaks through rhythm. So I have no idea what her thinking is, but I also don't have a problem with her sharing, because she's perfectly, like, okay to share her opinion. I'm just going to pick on only like one or two that I think could be said differently.
Do that, or it's a message from an angel, or it's a message from a master. Now, I'm not saying that we never actually receive divine messages, because for sure people have legitimate, beautiful spiritual experiences. But a lot of the time, when we jump to conclusions and assume that something is telling us something else, we start to do away with our rational thinking skills, and instead we start to ride this wave of coincidences, surrendering control of our lives into some unknown factor. Now, when somebody is already doing that, which I was doing on a regular basis as a tarot card reader, when I came into the Nithyananda Sangha, this community of people worshiping the Guru Nithyananda, whenever I started to tell those people about miraculous things happening in my life, they all told me, this is a gift from Nithyananda. This is Swamiji talking to you. This is him making this happen for you. And that's how the brainwashing first started to take effect. Previously, I had always thought these little synchronicities were.
So there is some sort of issue she's having with somebody in the organization, and I have no idea who they are. And like, so like she's listening on one of the teacher's message, Nithyananda's message is, if you have a problem, directly to address it with him. So she has somebody she kind of is buddying with who is not clued into her level of thinking. And so there is a big disconnect I could see, but that is not bad or good. It's like, I'm just observing it.
Gifts from existence, gifts from the universe, gifts from my higher self, gifts from this, that, or the other. I usually attributed that to some divine higher dimensional being, and a lot of people do this. And suddenly I had a huge community of individuals all unanimously telling me These are miracles from their guru. So that's why it was so easy for me to fall into it and believe their guru was my guru, and suddenly everything good that happened in my life.
So at some point, she decides, I hope she can go back and look at her events, that at what point she feels their guru is not my guru. Like, like one of the teachings which Nithyananda does is to go back to that day when the disconnect happens and live through it 5 times to see why is it the separation happens, because the whole point is to keep it in oneness. So somewhere the oneness disconnects, and it's not about the teacher, it's where that loss of connection happened. And I think she, like, like how she says faulty attribution, it's not like you are attributing to one person, it's the phenomenon of being connected with the divine. And so the disconnect happens, and maybe she heard it that it is only through one person it's happening, and that's not the teaching is about. Swami Nityananda never says that it's only my way or you hit the highway. He says there is total, I think, 11 sampradaya. He says you can have like 11 different aspects to reaching divine, and there is like some commonly followed, but he gives 3 exceptions. One is Adi Ashrama, which is positive anonymous 12 step. Adi Ashrama is just hermitage and a retreat center. People who worship females called avadutas, who like Kashmiri Brahmins, they do that. Shankara and like, Dattas, Shaktas, those are separate worshippers who does the Sri Yantra. And Siddhas are the people who do the Panchapakshi Shastra. So I have a feeling she doesn't understand the ethnicity of the culture. So that's where the disconnect is. But to give her a benefit of doubt, like, I feel if she understands, that one thing Swami Nityananda always says is, don't watch my words. He says, catch my breathing space. Because he says, pecha pidicha pittan, which means when you catch my words, you will be going crazy. When you catch my breath, you will be finding magic. So that is a very South Indian way of connecting with the divine. So I think that's where the disconnect is. And it will take like sometimes a lot of soul searching.
I felt was coming from him. And when I got to India, the entire lifestyle there was geared towards keeping people compliant and subservient to his agenda. We were told what time to get up in the morning.
See, I think this is the major disconnect. So for Westerners, if I have to translate, you can say Swami Nityananda was trying to legitimize a teacher-student relationship. It's called Gurukul. Hermitage and a retreat center was slaughtered. It was slaughtered for more than 5,000 years. And like, this starts way beyond like Christianity. Like Muslim invasions happens, and Brahmins, Kashmiri Brahmins were slaughtered. All the men who were thinkers were brought to the middle of the society and beheaded. All the girls were taken as a harem. So Ghazini Muhammad fights non-stop, relentlessly for 17 times. So many people lost their lives. And then all the Hindu temples were destroyed and stuff. And I think what we lost was the legitimacy of Guru children, like, Sampradaya, Gurukul, they call it Gurukul. And that is what he wanted to legitimize. And his whole, what is it called? The energy he was putting into raising the children to be taught a specific way. So until the 21 years, just like in Buddhism, they have monks. Until 21 years, you are not even socially engaging with anybody. And then to pursue your livelihood, that you have a very good moral character. So that's what he was trying to do, and he achieved it. Thank God he achieved it. Ultimately, Karnataka government, the Supreme Court, ruled in his favor. Now he already has a Gurukul going on, and he announced 4 more is coming. So he would have like total 4 legitimate. So for Westerners, this is a father who lost custody of his children, and his wife was pimped out by the terrorists. So he gets the children back from foster kids, and he is trying to raise them because they were raised at so many different levels. He is trying to put together a uniformity. And so he did the uniform, like Gurukul kids, and the sacred thread ceremony, and he initiates them and he gives them a lifestyle of monkhood. And I think in olden days, females were not even allowed to participate in these. And she was specially privileged to, in spite of being not into the, born into the culture, to be allowed that. And I don't think she even understands the enormity of exception made on her behalf.
Morning, we started our day with physical exercise in the form of yoga, followed by worshiping him in the form of puja, followed by listening to his discourses in the form of satsang. And to my amazement, this is exactly in line with what psychologists refer to as making somebody vulnerable and receptive towards a mindful mechanism, a sleep deprivation, so making us get up.
So the other thing she mentions is he teaches the thing she praises initially as Sanatana Dharma she's following. That's the exact thing he teaches. We lost like so many books. 2 crores of literature were lost. So all he was teaching was Ketopanishad, which is like, the original manuscript that was given to understand what is the cosmic law that can be used in daily practice. So I think she doesn't understand the culture, and that's where the disconnect is.
Physical exertion, getting us to do yoga as soon as we wake up in the morning. And then satsang, planting ideas in our minds once we're overtired, then physically tired and receptive. All of this was easy for us to fall into because it was painted in the colors of Hinduism. We were told this is traditional Hindu practice. We weren't told this is a cultic brainwashing being done to you. So for all of those people in
so far she was sharing her opinion, that's fine. But the minute she introduces a concept of cult, it is very judgmental. And that is where she needs to redo this video, take out the word cult, and instead you can use a skillful word that in Nithyananda University, the program differed from another place. Because I think to have proper behavior, every university has bylaws and rules and regulations. And he was following the rules, regulations he set forth for his university. And if you're not a teacher, which is assigned to teach that by him, then you need to go and ask for permission and privileges and not necessarily throw out some words that is very judgmental.
Yes, why do Westerners fall victim to these fake songs and fall victim to these traps? It's because,
again, this is not an opinion anymore. This is judgment. And it is 8.41. You want to redo your video, Ma?
There's a lot of magical thinking that goes on with regards to miraculous happenings. And instead of seeing them as coincidences or instead of seeing them as gifts from higher gods and goddesses like Mahasadashiva in the cosmic form, we're told that these are directly happening because of the guru's human intervention. So a lot of people who have fallen victim to Nithyananda who still feel that he is not a cult leader, that he truly...
So again, it's a very judgmental view in between with opinions, and that's where the video is digressing.
An avatar. A lot of the reasons they give for continuing to believe in him are these faulty attribution miracle models. A lot of very rational, educated, intelligent, well-intentioned people continue to support his fraud organization because they have anecdotes.
Rajiv Malhotra uses a word confused intellectuals. This is exactly, it's a word salad she's using, which does not convey respect.
Total evidence in their lives of what they feel is proof for them that he has made great things happen for them. They'll attribute everything from a breakthrough in their yoga practice to a breakthrough in their relationships, and they'll give away their powers instead of taking credit for working hard to achieve those goals. They will forget the effort that they put into it. For example, they don't consider the fact that they've started doing yoga for an hour every day, and that's why their body is more flexible, and that's why they're healing, and that's why they're more healthy. They'll think, wow, he's blessed me with this yoga, so he has given me this breakthrough. When we start to give away our inner independent thought and assume that all the good things in our life are happening because of someone else, anything that someone else starts to tell us, we will naturally be more receptive and more gullible to believe because we don't want to lose that connection. We start to feel like we owe that individual something. If somebody comes up to you on the street and gives you $100, you'll be grateful. You'll feel so appreciative that they've given it to you. If somebody comes up to you on the street and steals something from you and then starts giving it back in little bits and dribbles and little bits here and there, you'll get mad, right? They've taken something from you. And you won't be grateful when they give little bits of it back. You'll feel like they rip you off. You want all of it back. What I want to share, the way I really feel about Nithyananda now, he didn't give me anything spiritually. He took away my self-sovereignty. He took away my gratitude.
So again, this is her opinion. There is no problem with the opinions because opinions is like, you have to share honestly. And I'm so grateful. She's very authentic that she received nothing from him. And let that blessings be given to you. Yes, you received nothing for the 9 years you spent there. Tatastu.
Gratitude for the miracles existence was giving, and made me feel as if I owed him something because he claimed he was the source of all of those great things that happened. So when little tiny good things would happen here and there, while I used to feel grateful to him for that, I now recognize it's like he stole away my entire independent thinking skills. And why should I be grateful if he gave back little teeny tiny clicks or little teeny tiny realizations when all the things he gives to his disciples are always self-serving towards his agenda, which is to recruit more followers, to gain more money, to gain more popularity, and ultimately to be rich and powerful. He claims that he is the source of shaktis, of spiritual powers, when in reality he's making people feel as if they could never have any kind of psychic realization unless it was given by him. He makes people feel like they could never get enlightened unless they're enlightened through his flesh.
See, again, this is an opinion, and there is no problem with opinions because it's kind of sad. Like after 9 years, she's still saying she got nothing from him, and I only knew him for like past 2 years, and I received a lot of breakthrough in my life. He allowed me to understand there is nothing I need to do extra in this world to be happy. So it's so interesting, like, we hear the same thing and we come to different conclusions.
And so when somebody is led through a process at one of his retreats where they stare at a picture of his eyes for hours on end and then close their eyes and they see a vision, they never realize it could be as much mass hypnosis as it is what he claims the awakening of the third eye. As somebody who dedicated years of my life to his organization, it's actually really sobering and humbling in retrospect to look back and see that what I promoted for so many years was more likely mass hypnosis than an enlightenment.
So it is very apparent she had no idea what this is about, and she was just conveying a message she thought she was obligated to do, which is again like, coming from a place of inauthenticity.
And it's especially sad for me to see so many of my close friends, people who I met along the way in that journey, feeling as if they have no independent existence outside of this cult. A lot of people are saying that they're not in a cult, they feel guru bhakti, they feel devotion.
See, the problem is there are certain judgmental word cult. If she uses it with the intention of being part of the cult, it's different. So I think she's using it in a negative way, and that's disrespectful. You use a skill word rather than a word that is not in harmony with the universe. You wouldn't describe that about you, right?
I want to clarify that I have absolutely nothing at all against Hinduism. Today is the first day of Navaratri, the 9 nights celebrating the goddess, the mother, Devi, in her various forms.
Today is Saraswati Puja, where it is actually Saraswati is goddess of knowledge. The Navaratri finish shows she's starting this video on the day Navaratri began, which is 9 nights the war was fought. Knowledge is not wisdom if you do not transform that knowledge to make it practical and usable by others. So knowledge cannot bring completion.
Such a tremendous gratitude to that divine feminine energy that I've had really great experiences of when I was in India in various temples. I really love Hinduism. I'm not at all anti-Hindu. And it's ironic and it's annoying that the way they're trying to silence me in that organization is by spreading a false rumor saying that I'm anti-Hindu.
Okay, I'm going to stop here because it is very serious. So I'm going to play you guys a video by Swami Vivekananda, because what she's saying reminds me of what Swami Vivekananda says. Okay, he's like one of my favorite teachers, but he's actually a comedian.
But no, these are very interesting times to be doing it, and it's very important that we have a spiritual practice. Here, of course, people are meditating, but out there in the secular world, they don't want to have anything to do with anything that they think is religious. So now people are practicing mindfulness. You know what is mindfulness? That's because in the information age, we are suffering from mindfulness. And the way to achieve mindfulness is to empty the mind. Is it not true? I studied with a great teacher. He said, if you want to achieve this mindfulness, peaceful mind, you need to do two things. First of all, you need to clear your mind of all thoughts. And secondly, you need to focus on the center of yourself. And so I did this and it worked. I am now thoughtless and self-centered.
So, Sarah Laundry, actually her name is Landry, but I'm going to say it in a way that makes sense to me. So Sarah Laundry is teaching me how to be mindful, thoughtless, and self-centered. So thank you, Ma, for being this new age guru, for being thoughtless and self-centered. And you have the perfect social ambassadorship for this.
I mean, they've made up really ridiculous lies about a lot of whistleblowers in the past. And sadly, I fell victim to a lot of the lies they told about a lot of those whistleblowers in the past because I chose to believe whatever Nithyananda rational thinking capacity. So when people like Arthurao and Lenin Karupan revealed the truth of Nithyananda's cultic agenda, when those people were called anti-Hindu elements, I assumed they were. Now that I myself am being called an anti-Hindu element, I realize, wow, they must have been telling the truth. And it's interesting because both of them were born Hindus. When it comes to this kind of inner realization, when we're looking back at something that we've done in the past through a new perspective, we have new information given to us, and we start to realize that what we did then was wrong. I find it's really good to make connections with other people who have gone through that same process or who are going through that same process. And it's been such a huge blessing for me as I'm coming out of the cult abuse that I faced in the Nithyananda organization. It's been such a beautiful gift and a beautiful blessing to be able to see the great work done by those who have left Scientology.
So here, again, it's a sharing, and it's her opinion that she went through cult abuse. And I have absolutely nothing that I want to add to that, only because it's fair. She can express herself. That's totally fair for her to believe she had gone through cult abuse. But only when she does name calling, it becomes difficult to hear.
Because there's a lot of parallels in the community. And I think I mentioned in my last video that it was in Leah Revenue's series on A&E called Scientology in the Aftermath that I started to realize a lot of the things done to us in Nithyananda's were abusive. We were regularly sleep deprived. We were regularly threatened with punishment if we didn't do what the group leader, Nithyananda, told us to do. We were regularly publicly humiliated and shamed in front of large groups of people.
And actually, some of the stuff she's saying is her perspective, because me and my friend, both of us are physicians. We went together for Sadashivam 2016, which actually that's where I met Sarah Laundry too. And interestingly, I woke up and I choose to do the program because he says if you wanted to do the best you could for the 3 weeks you paid for, you guys, and also right, this 3 week included the hotel stay, meals, non-stop. Like, we were given 5-course meals, 3 to 4 times a day, plus snacks, plus coffee, tea, 40 different items. Like, like the amount of fruits, vegetables we served was beyond like what they serve in wedding. So the food was included, the stay was included, 3 weeks hotel stay. So the course fee covered like, so many of the luxuries, the shuttle to back and forth, they picked us up at the airport. So it was so worth it. Okay. But my colleague who happened to be traveling with me from California, she chose not to get up in the morning. So it's not like it's mandated. It's like suggested if you want to get maximum usage of your program to do it a certain way. And I think what she understood versus what is reality were two different things.
One of the instructions he had given us, especially impossible tasks. And it's interesting to see how many people have spoken out against Scientology, and that they too, while they were going through that cultic abuse, they thought it was normal, it was rationalized as okay, because they were in a group environment where everyone else around them was okay with it. It's so strange getting out of a cult, because as long as you're in that cult, you are adamant that you are not in a cult, that maybe other people are brainwashed, but not you. That doesn't mean that you enjoy your life and that it's exactly what you would have chosen for yourself.
So the William Marston dope scale, which is dove, owl, peacock, eagle, she, like, I would peg her in as a peacock. Okay, that's what I think. Her spirit name, Swarupa Priya, she used to be called the peacock. And the issue with peacock personality is they are all like oriented towards skin and its sensation. Like, they are sensational, they are YouTube influencers, but also the thing is they fear rejection the most. Actually, the personality scale spells it out very well. Uh, and this is William Marston scale. And I'm gonna because I think when I'm like listening to her, I was hoping, like, so they are very extroverted, peacock or influence, extroverted, influential, talkative, wants to entertain, friendly, sociable, tells stories, smiles a lot, positive, optimistic, concern is for others, boosts morale, shares feelings, tells stories, uses lots of hand and body movements, focuses on people, intent is to persuade, communications style is to persuade, motivation to be recognized, fear is rejection, style is a democratic influencer. So their active behavior in a friendly environment, desire to build relationship and create enthusiasm in an office, the certificate on the walls for others to see is like something that they really focus on. So, like, you could see in Panchapaksha Shastra that would be the issue, but when they are rejected, how they react is what this is about.
One of the things I've learned from the ex-Scientologists is that stepping back for a moment from your experience and questioning if that's what you would have chosen from the beginning, if you had known that that's what it was going to be, would you have gone into it? A lot of them say when they first read the Dianetics book, or they first went to an auditing session, or they first met a Scientology recruiter, if they had been told, you'll have to go into debt and mortgage your house and give up all of your assets and pay it to this group in order to clear new levels and get new information. If they had known that up front, they would not.
Again, she is mixing the issue. She is now following OSHA. That's what I'm hearing. OSHA did do that. If you watched The Wild Wild Country, and he made people give up their property and stuff. He started his own state. He gave them everything they wanted. And the head of his organization, Sheila, ends up sabotaging him. And now she's running it from Europe. She has all the money in the world, and he's dead. But the issue they found out was that community living doesn't work. That's what OSHA proved. Like, it doesn't matter what you give people, people always have a problem because they are never happy. So I think that's where the disconnect was. And Swami Nithyananda now, then he stepped out of India. Now he started his own Kailasha, and he's internationally doing it. Kailasa.org, everything online. And he currently is not even allowing people to be in direct contact with him with all this controversy. But I think the more people misunderstand, we are losing out for many of us. But sometimes it's checks and balances. Where is it? Like when one thing is too good, like some things comes to pull it down. But in the balancing, we always end up stabilizing better. So that's the space Nithyananda organization is now. And he moved into Kailasha.org. And some of the programs he's introducing, free online Hindu bachelor program, which is a 2-year program. There are a lot of things he's evolved since then. He is doing so much for online, library, Hindu libraries, free education stuff. So a little piece of what she's saying in the long run helped him to also see where he needs to focus, where he doesn't need to focus. And she was given the top task force, just like Sheila in OSHA organization. But she, in the end, ended up, I think if I have to share it, the way I learned was that there was a car fentanyl given to him and he almost died. Like for 6 months, he was in seclusion, and he came back. But the chocolate that was laced with carfentanil was delivered by her, and many people became sick. And there are a lot of things about her that's coming out. She went to Slovakia, put her slippers next to Nithyananda's slipper and asked people to pray. She delivered a new prayer. So there is a lot of stuff that's coming out about her, which is very puzzling. So she's under investigation too by Indian government. But I'm just doing this video because what she's trying to gear up is the Scientology's father, the guy who started Scientology is funding her now. So she's on his radio show and she's doing a 3-part series. So she has plenty of money coming in. So she is using her stage to recruit people to digress from the issue so she wouldn't legally be in trouble. So I'm just putting it out there so people will know. And also the Nithyananda's teenage saint, she laced him with something and disrobed him and did something to him. He blacked out. He couldn't recollect what it is. And she took illegal videos of him and stuff. So there are a lot of things that's happening as well. But I'm just watching. I'm trying to be neutral. I'm not trying to side her or I'm just trying to figure out. But as a validation therapy, I'm just pointing out certain words that is judgmental that needs to be corrected.
Have gone into it. And yet once they got sucked in, it was easy to keep going in deeper and deeper and deeper because they had disengaged from their previous community and changed their idea of their identity. The same thing happens exactly in the Nithyananda cult. I know a lot of people who are still on the fence or watching what those of us who have left are saying. And I just want to ask one question to those people who feel like they're half in, half out. They still kind of believe in Nithyananda, but they're not quite sure. Ask yourself, when you first started going to his gatherings, when you first got into it, would you still have been willing to get into it if somebody had told you this is going to take over your entire life? And if your parents...
So who gives permission to have their life taken over? The only power is us. If in case we chose to give away our power, you cannot blame another person. So I think there is a subtle message here saying he took over their power, which actually, I followed, Nithyananda's teaching, and I'm still following, but I'm doing it in my own way. I don't do it the way he wants. Meaning, his way, I should say, is to join Gurukul and do it traditionally. But he never said that's the only way. He says that's what I stand for. This is my passion about. But do it what you want to do, the best of your ability. And if you're a good doctor, multiply and create multiple people who can understand and do what you need to do. So I think there is a disconnect again, that life is taken over by some other organization, which is not what the teaching is about. The teaching is about, first, bring yourself so you do not get activated by the world. Second thing is, be the best influencer. He actually has a video called How to Kill Your Inner Demons. This is first, just like Swami Vivekananda, empty your mind so you're not thinking. Because he says, thinking brain is a sick brain. Instead, be in the space of listening. Okay, you listen to you first, so then you will know subconsciously what your life is about. Second thing is, once you listen to others as well, so you can speak to their listening. And third is, bring into completion whatever you want to manifest in your life. This is the way I hear. And for me, the first thing he said is to become my own boss, which I achieved. The second thing is, he said, financially, every year, whatever you made, give it back to your cause and then start over. So I actually am able to pay off my debt, my children's school funds, and then start over. Every year, he says, don't gather enough that you think you need it for retirement and stuff. Just gather so that one whole year you can run your program without having to worry about having a job. And I haven't achieved it, but at least I'm working towards it. And the third thing he says is, know what is it you stand for. And I stand for that Panchapakshi Shastra, which took me 20 years to write this book. And I don't have people who can study it with me. But this is going to be my final, legacy I'm going to leave behind. So he allows me to see, prioritize first, work towards it, and keep your life simple. That's all. He says, keep it so simple that you're not at all stressed. And I think if she didn't get that, I'm just shocked. Like, it took her 9 years and to see she wasted her time. Whereas I spent literally 21 days in his presence and I am listening to his satsang, but the way he delivers it is not at all suggestive. It's more about what is going on, what is it we need to pay attention to, how not to get sucked into the television and their agendas. Instead, to follow our own thinking so we can get ahead to where we need to go. Like Sharon Srivatsav, he says it's not the goal, it's a process that's more important. So he says first figure out what exactly you stand for, be authentic and work towards it. And that's exactly what Swami Nithyananda says.
Your friends or your children or your coworkers question it, would you still have gone into it knowing that you would be expected to disconnect from them completely and cut them out of your life? Would you still have gone into it knowing that you would eventually be expected to give up your identity and move full-time to the ashram, where you will be sleep deprived, where you will be forced to do manual labor, where you will see that kids are being beaten, but you'll be forced to lie about that on social media, where you'll see that a lot of your rights and freedoms as a human being are stripped away. You need to ask permission to go to a funeral outside, and usually that permission will be denied. Would you still have gotten into it if you had known going in that your life would be limited and controlled by people other than you? That's generally how you can recognize whether or not you're in a cult. If you find yourself starting to agree with things that you know are disagreeable, and you find yourself silencing that inner voice that's telling you, well, wait a minute, this might be wrong. If you find yourself pushing aside your own moral compass in order to fulfill somebody else's agenda, no matter what agenda that might be, that's the sign that you are in a high control environment. You're in a cultic environment. And it's really unfortunate that so many well-intentioned people get in, because these kinds of cultic environments prey on individuals who want to do something good for the world. You don't get sucked into a cult if you are a really
so again, this is the wisdom of a thoughtless and self-centered, like Swami Vivekananda's definition of mindfulness, judgmental view, because it stops being opinion to judgment at 20. And I think those are certain things you want to improve if you want to have a wholesome behavior.
vehemently self-centered individual who doesn't care about others. It's easier to get sucked in if you want to bring enlightenment to the planet, or if you want to bring higher consciousness to others, you want to help people. Start to look in and see, are the actions of that cultic group actually helping anybody?
After 20, see, so far the lecture or whatever she's saying is to the point, and now it's getting to rehashing these, right? So next probably 7 minutes is going to be literally wasting our time listening to her, but just for completion, I'm going to listen.
Or are they just trying to do damage control so that the cult can continue to exist? If a group is actually doing what they claim they're going to do in the the case of Scientology, that would be clearing the planet of engrams, of negative past experiences that hold people back from their higher potential. If they were actually doing that, whistleblowers like Leah Remini wouldn't have thousands of people lined up to appear on her show to talk about how that cult hurt them and destroyed their family and put them in debt. The same way with the cult of Nithyananda. Unfortunately, not as many people are willing to come forward and speak out, because one of the ways the Nithyananda cult silences dissenters is by making up blatant
So from 21, it's all judgment. It stops being opinion.
lies about them to try to discredit them. Those who actually know me find it laughable. But one of the things that this Nithyananda cult has done, they've made a claim, they've accused me of being a CIA agent who infiltrated their organization to poison their leader. They've accused me of being a member of the Catholic sect Opus Dei. They've accused me of raping people while I was there. They've accused me of starting my own cult. Now they're calling me a white racist person who's trying to be the hero of Hindus, and they've misspelled Hindus deliberately to make it look like I'm some kind of vigilante out on a mission to destroy a sacred religion. The truth of the matter is that I have a deep reverence and respect for Hinduism. I'm really grateful that I get to co-sponsor a Pratyangira Homa, this Navaratri Chidambaram temple, with some of my friends, as a way of honoring the goddess and invoking that divine blessing to help us through this process of exposing a cult that is actually damaging Hinduism. It's no more Hindu. The Nithyananda cult is no more Hindu than a group like the Branch Davidians are a representation of Christianity, or the Jonestown people are a representation of Christianity. What the Nithyananda cult has done is hijack the love and the care that a lot of people have for Hinduism and claim that they are the owners of that sacred tradition, which they're not. I think there are something like over 1 billion Hindus on planet Earth, but less than 1% of those Hindus believe that Nithyananda is an incarnation of the Lord Shiva. So it's not an attack against Hinduism to attack his cult. It's actually something for the preservation of what's real Hinduism, to point out that his cult is not the deciding authority of what is or what isn't. So I just wanted to clear up a few of those questions that appeared under my last video, and also to say thank you so much to the community of people who have left Scientology for creating an open space where people leaving other cults don't need to be afraid to speak out and to come forward and to share our stories. I have felt so much love and so much respect from people who left Scientology, and especially to Ron Miscavige. He is the father of David Miscavige, who took over Scientology directly from L. Ron Hubbard. When L. Ron Hubbard died in 1986, he left Scientology to David Miscavige. And a lot of people who speak out against Scientology speak out against the corruption and the abuse that David Miscavige personally does to people and that he gives his consent for. So Ron Miscavige is David's own father, and he's one of the trailblazers in blowing the whistle on Scientology and calling it out and warning people not to get into that cult. And it's really cool that Ron has created his own YouTube channel where every week he interviews people who left Scientology so that he gives them a space where they can share their stories and just vent and talk about the things that Scientology did in their lives that have hurt them as a public servant. And I'm just really grateful because I commented under one of Ron's videos. And within a couple of days, his wife reached out to me and invited me to appear in an episode. So he interviewed me. He did the first interview for his show earlier today. And I'll put a link in the video description here for where you can go and watch that interview and subscribe to his channel. Because next Sunday, we're going to do part 2. And the Sunday after, we're going to do part 3 of that interview. So in today's interview, I shared with Ron the whole history of how I got caught up in the Nithyananda cult and how I rose to publicly the top of that cult as their top recruiter and the head of their social media team. In next week's installment, we're going to cover what made me leave, what I found out about that organization that convinced me it's actually a cult, not a spiritually enlightened community, and that the leader is definitely a narcissistic psychopath with sociopathic tendencies, and how I was able to free myself from that cult trap. And then the following week, Ron and I are going to go through a checklist of red flags to look out for if you feel you might be in a cult. So how can we recognize a cult as opposed to a community? And which similarities exist between the Nithyananda cult and the cult of Scientology? Which common practices and common abuses both of those organizations perpetuate on unsuspecting people who innocently come and join them and then don't realize it but get brainwashed. So I'm really excited for that interview series, and I'm grateful to those of you who have been supportive of my journey as I break free from the Nithyananda cult. And for all of you who are still on the fence, anybody who's feeling like it's time to get out, I'm here for you. Just leave me a comment or reach out to me on Facebook. We can get through this, and we will get through this. Because the goodness that brought us into those cults will always prevail over the abuse we experience once we're suffering. So that's all I wanted to share with you guys today. Happy Navaratri. Jai Shri Ma. Glory to the goddess. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
So I'm going to bring mine. Up on top, like I'll stop sharing that way. Like I can. So one of the challenges we are going to face in future is psychological warfare. Next, I heard it's going to be 27 years. So I have decided I'm going to support good people, because I feel good people shouldn't struggle alone. And that's the only reason I even been to the Sadashiva Home 2016, because I saw Nithyananda Swamiji tearing up. I think he was denied the visa to travel. His Trinidad Tobago trip was cancelled by the corrupt Indian government at that time in Karnataka. And since then, there are a lot of changes, because when Modi came to the power, the second term, he put Chidambaram, who was like the biggest trafficker of black money and so much funding the terrorism in India. He was incarcerated. So I think since then, thank God, some of the spiritual organization were able to at least survive. The Supreme Court now said they would have a little bit more religious freedom, and he did get legitimacy for his university where he can teach the Gurukul kids. So there are a lot of good things that came out of it. So my goal is to put an end to cyber terrorism. The reason the cyber terrorism is promoted is because good people do not stay together and speak up for good things, but instead the hatred comes first. And Steven Spielberg is doing a 6-part Discovery documentary, Why People Hate. Hate messages comes up quicker on the internet. And Rajiv Malhotra says it another way. He says we need to be intellectual Kshatriyas. We need to be the warriors of intellects. So I am taking up as my social media ambassadorship, and I'm working for people who are trying to do the good thing. And I am going to do it from the space of Positive Anonymous 12-step program, because our whole thing is we want to be wholesome and power-filled. So that being said, I want to sign off today. And my, what is it called? A spiritual delineation, which was given by Sri Nithyananda, he ordained me to say this. Be blissful. That's the ordinance he uses when he signs off. So be blissful. Okay. I love you guys. Bye bye.